I grew up in a fairly poor background, and I knew what debt notices from the personal finance company were, but we didn't know anything about investing. We didn't know anything about saving. It was not an easy. It was a wonderful way to grow up in retrospect, but that's not to say it was easy. I worked at a young age, and I think the first time I really ever thought about investing is in some of my economics classes at Princeton, which were not focused on investing. But then I had this wonderful lucky break of reading Fortune magazine in December of 1949, and there's an article about the mutual fund industry called Big Money in Boston, and it inspired me to write my senior thesis at Princeton about the fund industry. And that's the mutual fund industry, basically purveyor of stocks and bonds, and so it began right there in 1949. Oh, I thought about being an architect. I thought about being a lawyer. I thought about being an engineer, but I didn't take engineering at Princeton, which you'd really have to do to get into that. But I liked the precision and the logic and the mathematics and that kind of thing of engineering, and the simplicity in many ways of engineering. But I didn't really spend much time. I finally came down to the fact I was a financial man, and I could have. I went with Wellington, this burgeoning company, and got an opportunity to exercise my abilities, such as they may be, at a fairly young age. And if I hadn't done that, I probably would have gone into a bank, probably been a teller, probably still be a teller today, panic-stricken when the day ended and I had to balance the books in my little cage there. Well, the main man, as in this case, was my great mentor and founder of the Wellington Fund. Back in 1928 is when he founded it, Walter L. Morgan, a Princetonian, class of 1920, who met me when I was at Princeton and talked to me. I talked to him about my thesis, and when I graduated, he offered me a job, and I thought the business was kind of risky to go into. Wellington Fund at that point had assets of $140 million. And I thought, well, I don't know if they're going to make it or not. But I, kind of got a stiff upper lip and said, let's go with it, because of my forecast that the industry would grow greatly in my thesis. And so I did go with him, and he had great trust, great confidence in me. As I've often said, more confidence in me than I had in myself. I was not a highly confident young man. And gosh, by the time I was 35 or 36, he said, you're going to run the company, and we got problems, and I want you to fix them.